Welcome back to Unadvertised. I'm your host, Melina Lopez. Quick disclaimer. The information, opinions, and recommendations presented in this podcast are for general information only, and any reliance on this information provided in this podcast is done at your own risk. This podcast should not be considered professional advice, and the content discussed will include sensitive topics such as sexual assault, self-harm, violence, and mental illness. Listen at your own risk. Today we are tackling a topic that reveals the darker side of workplace culture, particularly in organizations that are meant to protect and serve. Today we are focusing on experiences of a woman who faced harassment and retaliation while working at the FBI. Becky was in her 20s, full of excitement working as an analyst. She joined the FBI because she believed her organizational values and mission aligned with how she was raised. Becky had to go through the FBI training academy as a requirement for her newly appointed position. After she successfully finished the academy, the FBI threw her graduating class a farewell party. Becky was running late to the party and knew the quickest way to get there would be to take the stairs. As Becky was in the stairwell on her way to the party, she ran into a supervisory special agent, Charles Dick. She felt a rush of paralyzing fear take over her body. Becky had a couple of run-ins with Special Agent Dick a few times throughout her stay at the academy. He had threatened her several times before, stating, quote, "I'm going to touch your ass, you know it's going to happen," end quote. Although she brushed it off and avoided him because she had heard from other women at the academy that he was a bit of a creep. Agent Dick approached her on the stairwell, where he wrapped his arms around her chest while posing for a picture. Becky, feeling uncomfortable, tried pulling away when Agent Dick reached under her and began simulating penetration of her with his fingers through her jeans. Becky reported the assault but was quickly dismissed by Virginia State Court. Dick, of course, denied the charges. The judge stated that, quote, "Becky would stand there and take it and not say anything," end quote, which is why the charges were acquitted. After the assault, Dick retired from the FBI. He retired a few months before the Inspector General followed up with Becky's internal complaint. Becky filed a lawsuit towards the FBI due to the retaliation she faced after coming forward. Becky stated, quote, "It's much easier to suffer in isolation than it is to go public. But if I don't report it, I'm complicit in the culture and the institutionalized cover-up of this sort of behavior," end quote. As the premier law enforcement organization that the FBI holds itself out to be, it's very disheartening when they allow people they know are criminals to retire and pursue careers in law enforcement-related fields, end quote. Another analyst filed a lawsuit against the FBI alleging that a supervisory special agent licked her face and groped her at a colleague's farewell party in 2017. She ended up leaving the FBI and has been diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, also known as PTSD. Class action case claims male FBI instructors made, quote, "sexually charged," end quote, comments about women needing to, quote, "take their birth control to control their moods," end quote, as they invite women trainees over to their homes and belittling them. A Jane Doe alleged a special agent in charge in 2016 retired without discipline and opened a law firm even after he, quote, "imprisoned, tortured, harassed, blackmailed, stalked, and manipulated," end quote, her into having several, quote, "non-consensual sexual encounters," end quote, including one in which he forced himself onto her in the car. So that was Becky's personal story. She mentioned a few others. as I did a little research of my own, I found an article from the Associated Press, www.ap.org, by Jim Mustaine. The article was printed January 30th, 2025. Other Associated Press writers, Eric Tucker and Joshua Goodman, also contributed. The article states, the FBI has recorded a sharp spike in complaints that its own agents and employees have engaged in sexual misconduct, ranging from assaults to harassment, despite the pledge by Bureau leaders to eliminate the long-standing problem. An Associated Press investigation found that the FBI has received nearly 300 allegations of sexual misconduct since the Bureau announced in 2021 it had launched an agency-wide crackdown. The number marked a nearly 50% increase over complaints filed during the preceding 4-year period. According to the Bureau statistics, an increase advocates and lawmakers described as a sign that the Bureau is struggling to protect women in a male-dominated workplace. The FBI, for its part, said the increase shows its reforms are making it easier to report misconduct. The FBI declined to provide any details about the incident, citing federal policy, laws, and internal guidelines. A months-long AP investigation, however, revealed that the incidents ranged from sexual assault to agents paying for sex at massage parlors. Other allegations concerned agents making inappropriate sexual comments at office functions or commenting on a coworker's appearances. Some allegations were so serious that they resulted in criminal investigations or charges. The victims usually were agency employees, but others were women who agents came across during investigations or met socially. At least a dozen sexual misconduct allegations involved supervisors at the FBI. The FBI determined more than half of the claims warranted internal investigations. Statistics show, though the Bureau refused to disclose how many resulted in terminations or discipline, the FBI does not disclose how it disciplines specific agents or supervisors, but the Associated Press reviewed internal records in a few cases that showed some were punished. For example, an unidentified supervisor was fired last year for suggesting his female colleagues had become managers by performing sex acts. The records show. An FBI boss was suspended 60 days for, quote, unwelcome sexual conduct, end quote, at a work event. In another case, the Associated Press was not able to determine how a senior official was disciplined after he had admitted to wrongdoing. The official, an acting deputy assistant director, admitted his simulated anal sex on a colleague while acting out a graphic joke about predatory priests in the Roman Catholic Church, according to a 2023 report by the Justice Department's Inspector General. Quote, this is going to be bad, end quote, the agent told colleagues before closing an office door, according to the report. He then performed 2 wrestling holds on the mortified coworker before landing his punchline. The agent told investigators he only thrust his genitals once at the colleague and never touched him. He admitted it was inappropriate, the report says, telling investigators he's, quote, shouldn't have told the joke in an office setting, end quote. Another quote, Quote, when high-ranking officials in particular face no meaningful consequences for abusive conduct, it sends the message that anyone is free to act with impunity, end quote, said Stacey Young, a co-founder of the DOJ Gender Equality Network, an employee advocate group that persuaded the Justice Department to adopt a new department-wide sexual misconduct policy. Other females and advocates applaud the Bureau for taking steps to address the sexual misconduct, but they said it needed to go further to assure victims that their claims were being taken seriously. Martha Johnson, a recently retired FBI agent who says she was recently assaulted by an agent many years ago while working in Chicago, said the Bureau's internal process for reporting sexual abuse has long been set up to doubt and punish victims. Quote, they're patting themselves on the back, but the environment is still the same in that the women are too afraid to even use a hotline, end quote. She said, quote, I've seen the scenario play out over and over for 20 years. They didn't change anything, end quote. Keep in mind, this article is from 2025. It's heartbreaking, eye-opening, and I guess a step in the right direction. As we navigate this complex landscape, let's take a moment to reflect on why it's essential for us to listen, to really listen, to those who bravely share their stories and experiences. These narratives are not just stories, they are powerful testimonies that shine light on realities faced by many. When individuals come forward with their truths, they often do so at great personal risk, and their courage should be met with unwavering support. We live in a world where silence can be a shield for powerful and a prison for the vulnerable. This culture of silence can create an environment where injustice thrives, where those who are affected feel isolated and unheard. It's crucial that we challenge the norm. We must create spaces for dialogues that are safe, inclusive, and empathetic, allowing for a diverse range of experiences to be shared and acknowledged. In our discussion today, we explored the impact of this culture, of the silence, of the importance of solidarity. Solidarity means standing alongside for those who dare to speak out, affirming their experiences, and providing a platform for their voices to be heard. It's about recognizing that their fight is our fight, and that together we can advocate for change. What we can do as individuals, as a community, as a collective society to support those who share their stories, we can educate, learning from their experiences of others, and understanding that systematic issues are at play. It continues with advocacy, using our platforms, however big or small, to elevate these voices and push for accountability. I encourage you to keep an open heart and an open mind. This is not just about listening, it's about understanding the weight of these stories and recognizing our role in fostering a culture of openness and support. Together, we can ensure these crucial voices are heard and that we can take active steps toward dismantling the silence that has so long dominated many conversations. Thank you for tuning in to Unadvertised. If you or someone you know has experienced a similar situation, I encourage you to reach out for help. Remember, sharing your story can be a powerful step towards healing. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a moment to leave us a review on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Podcast Index, Podcast Addict, Deezer, Player FM. Your feedback helps us grow and bring you even better content. If you would like to reach out and submit your story, email unadvertisedinfo.crime@gmail.com. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Until next time, stay safe, stay informed, and take care of each other. Always remember, you are not alone.